Devin tapped his wineglass with a spoon. The dining room went quiet. He smiled at me across the table. "Mom, is the 6,000 Latrice's been sending enough to cover your bills?" My fork froze halfway to my mouth. My heart slammed against my ribs. The room tilted sideways. "What money, baby?" The words came out thin and confused. "I've never seen a cent." Devin's smile vanished. His face twisted into something ugly. He slammed the glass down. Wine sloshed onto my white tablecloth. "What do you mean you haven't seen it?" His voice cracked with fury. "Latrice has been sending you $6,000 every single month for half a year." The room spun. Every eye at my Christmas table locked on me. My daughter-in-law gripped her water glass. Her voice dropped to honey-soft concern. "Maybe she forgot we set it up." "Honey?" I didn't forget anything. My voice came out sharper than I intended. "I never received any money." Devin's breathing went ragged with rage. "This is exactly what Latrice said would happen. You're too proud to admit you need help." Welcome to my channel. Every day I share life stories that touch the heart, challenge the mind, and remind us we're not alone. If you enjoy stories that stay with you long after they end, I'd truly appreciate it if you subscribed and liked this video. Your support means more than you know. Now, let's dive back into today's story. And trust me, if you stay with me until the end, you'll feel every moment. The other guests stared at their plates. My cousin pushed peas around with her fork. The silence pressed down like a hand on my chest. "I pay my own bills." I forced the words out steady. "I always have." Have you ever been publicly accused of something you didn't do? That burning shame mixed with confusion? That's what Christmas dinner became. Latrice touched Devin's arm. Her voice stayed soft and reasonable. "We can talk about safer options for her if this is getting too hard." Safer options. Like I was a broken appliance. Like I couldn't manage my own life anymore. "I'm not confused." My hands shook. I pressed them flat against the table. "Something is wrong here, but it's not me." If you've ever felt misunderstood by your own family, hit that subscribe button. This story is going somewhere you won't see coming. The dinner ended fast after that. Guests made excuses about early mornings and long drives. Devin left without looking at me. Latrice squeezed my shoulder on her way out. "We'll figure this out." Mama Alma. The door closed. I stood alone in my condo surrounded by half-eaten plates and crumpled napkins. Let me tell you who I am. My name is Alma Jefferson. I'm 69 years old. I spent 37 years as a vice principal at Boston Public Schools. I've lived in this brownstone condo for 22 years. It's paid off. Every bill I've ever received, I've paid on time. Early, usually. My husband died in 2018. 7 years of widowhood taught me to be careful, to keep records, to never depend on anyone for what I could handle myself. Devin is my only child, my pride and joy. He sold his tech company in 2020 and became a millionaire practically overnight. He runs a small private equity firm now. Makes more money than I can wrap my head around, but I never asked him for a dime. I donate to my church's scholarship fund every quarter. I keep my home clean. I manage my investments. My mind is sharp as it's ever been. Why would my own son believe I needed money I never asked for? I walked to the kitchen table. The mail pile sat where I'd left it that morning. I'd been too busy cooking to deal with it. Now I sorted through envelopes with trembling hands. An urgent notice from the gas company, dated December 20th, 5 days ago. Your account is past due. Service may be interrupted. I grabbed my file folder from the drawer, found my November gas bill receipt, paid on November 12th, right on schedule like always. So why was I getting a late notice? I kept digging. A thank you card from my church. "Dear Sister Alma, thank you for your generous Christmas donation. Devin mentioned it would be coming. We're grateful for your continued support." My hands went numb. I never made any Christmas donation, not this year. Money's been tight with inflation. I'd already given my quarterly amount in September. A glossy postcard fell out of the pile. Luxury senior living at Meadowbrook Gardens. Schedule your tour today. My full name and address printed across the front. I never requested information about assisted living. Never. I live in my own home. I plan to die in my own home. My stomach clenched tight. Was I losing track of things? Had I made that donation and forgotten? Was my mind slipping without me noticing? I read the gas notice again. The words blurred. I blinked hard. No, I paid that bill. I have the receipt. I'm not confused. But here's what I didn't know yet. What I couldn't know. 6 months earlier, my daughter-in-law had been very busy. While I was living my quiet life, she was building something else entirely. Devin stood in his kitchen in June. Bank statements covered the granite counter. His voice had an edge to it. Latrice, where did $8,500 go last week? She looked up from her phone. Her expression stayed calm, patient, like she was explaining something to a child. You told me to take care of your mother, remember? Her voice went soft. I'm setting up automatic support payments. She's too proud to ask for help. Devin's shoulders sagged. Guilt crawled across his face. I need to keep track of our spending. I know, baby. She crossed to him and squeezed his hand. I'm handling it. Your mom will be taken care of. You don't have to worry anymore. He nodded, gathered up the statements. Never asked another question. That week, Latrice opened a new account, one I'd never see, one with only her name on it. I jolted back to the present. December 26th, early morning. I hadn't slept. My mind kept circling back to strange moments from the past few months. Sister Patricia at church 2 weeks ago. She'd pulled me aside after service. Her voice had that careful, gentle quality people use with fragile things. Alma, are you managing okay? I heard you've been having some memory issues. I'd laughed it off. Told her my memory was fine, but her words stuck like thorns. Then there was Thanksgiving. I'd offered to watch Devin's neighbor's kids for a weekend. My son had hesitated. Actually, hesitated. I don't want you to stress yourself, Mom. Like babysitting 2 quiet children would break me. And the building manager, Mr. Kowalski. He'd stopped me in the lobby 3 weeks back, asked an odd question. Mrs. Jefferson, if an owner moves to an assisted living facilities, can their condo be rented out? I told him I had no idea, assumed he was asking for someone else. Now the question felt different, heavier. My pride wrestled with something darker, fear. People were talking about me, about my memory, about my ability to manage. But why? I wasn't confused. I wasn't forgetful. I wasn't slipping. I said it out loud to my empty condo. I'm not confused. I'm not forgetful. I'm not slipping. The words echoed off the walls, but they didn't make me feel better. The phone rang at noon. Devin's name on the screen. I almost didn't answer. Then I picked up. Hi, baby. Mom. His voice was tight, hard, nothing like the warm sun I'd raised. We need to talk about yesterday. I'd like that. I kept my voice steady, because I don't understand what's happening. What's happening is that Latrice has been supporting you financially. Each word came out clipped, angry, and you either forgot or you're too proud to admit you need help. Devin, I swear to you, if this money isn't enough, we need to rethink everything about your care. The words hit like a punch. Rethink my care, like I was a patient, a problem to be managed. I don't need anyone to rethink anything. My voice rose despite myself. I've been taking care of myself just fine. Have you? The question dripped with doubt. Because Latrice says you've been having trouble, forgetting to pay bills, getting confused about appointments. That's a lie. The word burst out. I've never been confused about my bills. Background noise filtered through the phone. Latrice's voice, faint but clear enough. Maybe we should help her transition somewhere with support, honey. Static crackled as Devin covered the phone. Muffled conversation I couldn't quite hear. Then he came back on. I think Latrice might be right, Mom. Maybe it's time to look at some options that would give you more help. My hands started shaking. The phone trembled against my ear. What I need is for you to believe me. My voice cracked. I never received any money, not $1. Something else is going on here. What would you do if your child called you a liar? If the person you raised looked at you and saw someone broken, someone who couldn't be trusted with their own truth? I have to go. Devin's voice stayed cold. But we're not done talking about this. He hung up. I stood there holding the dead phone, staring at nothing. Then something shifted inside me. The hurt crystallized into something harder, something useful. Anger. I set the phone down carefully, walked to my home office, pulled out my filing cabinet. Every bill, every bank statement, every receipt from the past 6 months. I spread them across my desk in careful rows. If my son thought I was confused, I'd prove him wrong. If my daughter-in-law was lying, I'd find the proof. I will find every dollar that has my name on it. I said it aloud, a promise to myself. I will make this right. My hands stopped shaking. My breathing steadied. I grabbed a yellow legal pad and started making lists, dates, amounts, questions that needed answers, because something didn't add up. If Latrice had been sending me $6,000 every month for 6 months, that was $36,000. Where did it go? I'd received nothing. Not a check, not a transfer notification, not a deposit slip, nothing. But someone was telling my son I had. Someone was telling my church I was making donations I'd never made. Someone was spreading whispers about my memory failing. Someone was building a story about me. A story where I was confused and failing and needed to be moved somewhere safe. What I was about to discover would crack my family wide open. I pulled out my bank statements, started with January, worked forward month by month, highlighting every transaction, looking for anything I didn't recognize, anything that seemed off. The afternoon light faded outside my window. I kept working. Looking back now, I see that moment as the line, before and after. Before, I was just a widow trying to live quietly in the home she loved. After, I was a woman at war, a war I didn't know how to fight yet, but one I'd learn, because nobody was taking my home. Nobody was writing me off as confused or failing or needing to be managed. I'd spent 37 years teaching students to stand up for themselves, to speak their truth, to fight for what mattered. Now it was my turn. I called the gas company first, waited through the hold music. When the representative answered, I had my November receipt right in front of me. I'd like to understand why I received a late notice when I paid my bill on time. The representative typed something, long pause. Ma'am, our records show a payment arrangement was set up on December 14th, over the phone. You called and asked to delay payment until January. My blood went cold. I never made that call. I'm showing here that I paid in November, on time, like I do every month. I never called you in December. More typing, another long pause. Would you like me to pull the call recording? Yes. My voice came out harder than I intended. Yes, I would. Because if someone called pretending to be me, I needed to know. I needed proof that I wasn't losing my mind. I hung up after requesting the recording be sent, stared at the piles of paper on my desk, at the notes I'd been making, at the questions multiplying faster than I could write them down. My phone buzzed. A text from Devin. Latrice says you called her yesterday upset and confused. Please let us help you, Mom. I never called Latrice. Not yesterday. Not ever. She had my number, but I didn't have hers. Devin had always been our go-between. I typed back carefully. I did not call Latrice. I don't have her number. Whoever told you that is lying. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. No response came. I set the phone down, looked around my quiet condo, at the life I'd built, the home I'd maintained, the independence I'd fought for after my husband died. Someone was trying to take it all away, and they were using my son to do it. The sky outside had gone dark. Christmas lights twinkled in windows across the street. families gathering for the holiday, while mine was falling apart over money I'd never seen and accusations I couldn't fight. But I would fight. I didn't know how yet, didn't know who to trust or where to turn. But I knew one thing with absolute certainty. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't confused, and I wasn't going to let anyone convince my son otherwise. Tomorrow I'd go to the bank. I'd talk to people I trusted. I'd find answers. Tonight I sat in my home office surrounded by evidence of a life lived carefully, and I made one more promise. Whatever's happening, whoever's behind this, I'll find out, and I'll stop it. The words hung in the empty room. A vow, a declaration of war. Let them think I'm a confused old woman. Let them whisper about my failing memory. They were about to find out exactly how sharp Alma Jefferson still was. The next morning, a knock at my door pulled me from the dining table. I'd been up since dawn organizing documents. I opened the door. My neighbor stood there, 72-year-old widow who lived 2 units down. Her voice came out careful but urgent. "Alma, I need to tell you something. It's been bothering me since Christmas morning." I stepped back. "Come in." We sat at my kitchen table. She twisted her hands together. 2 days ago, Christmas morning, I was coming back from getting my mail. I heard someone in the hallway on their phone. It was your daughter-in-law. My heart started pounding. What did she say? She was complaining to whoever was on the other end. Said something about cleaning up Alma's money mess again. Her exact words. I remember because it confused me. "You've never had money problems that I know of." The room tilted. Latrice had been spreading this story before the Christmas dinner even happened, before Devin asked his question in front of everyone. She was setting it up, I said aloud, building the narrative ahead of time. That's what I thought too. It didn't sit right with me, so I'm telling you now. Why would Latrice lie to strangers about me? I grabbed her hand. "Thank you. You have no idea how much this means." She squeezed back. "Something's not right here, Alma. I've known you 5 years. Your mind is sharp as a tack." After she left, I sat alone with this new piece of the puzzle. Latrice hadn't just been lying to Devin. She'd been spreading whispers to anyone who would listen, creating a story about me being confused and incompetent. But why? That afternoon, I drove to my bank, walked in with my folder of statements and my list of questions. The teller who usually helped me smiled when I approached. "Mrs. Jefferson, what can I help you with today?" I laid my statements on the counter. "I need you to review my account activity. I'm seeing things that don't make sense." She pulled up my account, started scrolling. Her professional smile faded into a frown. "I'm seeing some unusual activity here. Small overdraft fees on December 3rd, December 18th, December 22. I don't understand how that's possible. I keep a buffer in my checking account specifically to avoid overdrafts." She clicked through more screens. "It looks like online transfers have been hitting your account and bouncing back. Like someone tried to transfer money in, but the routing information was wrong or incomplete." My stomach dropped. "Can you show me?" She turned the screen. 3 attempted deposits. All failed, all resulting in fees. "I need to check my online banking," I said. "Can you help me log in?" She typed in my account number. "What's your password?" I gave her the password I'd used for 10 years. The screen flashed red. Invalid credentials. "That's impossible. I've used that password since I opened online banking." The teller tried the recovery process. "What's your phone number for account recovery?" I gave her my cell number. She typed it in. Another red flash. "The phone number on file ends in 7823. Is that yours? Have you ever felt your life being stolen piece by piece?" "No, my number ends in 4591. It's been the same number for 15 years. The teller's voice dropped lower, more concerned. "Mrs. Jefferson, someone changed your online banking credentials, and they used a different phone number to do it. Remember Latrice, my daughter-in-law, the one who suggested safer options for me at Christmas, had somehow gotten access to things she shouldn't have. My late husband used to say, Keep your own accounts, keep your own records. He'd seen too many widows lose track of their money after their husbands died, so I kept meticulous records. I balanced my checkbook. I knew every dollar that came in and went out. But someone had gotten into my account anyway. I need this investigated, I told the teller. This is fraud. She nodded, printed out the activity log, made notes in my file, but I could see it in her careful movements. She wasn't sure if I was the victim or just confused. The next day, I went to see my pastor. I'd known him for 12 years. He'd married Devin and Latrice. He'd eulogized my husband. I sat across from him in his church office, told him everything. The Christmas dinner, the money I'd never received, the late notices for bills I'd paid, the whispers about my memory. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he set down his teacup. Alma, I need to tell you something. I noticed months ago that your scholarship donation stopped, back in June. My chest tightened. I made my quarterly donation in September like always. Not according to our records. The last donation we received from you was March. I assumed you were having financial difficulties, but you've always been private about money, so I didn't want to embarrass you by asking. Someone told you I was having problems, didn't they? He nodded slowly. Your daughter-in-law mentioned in passing that you were cutting back due to some confusion with finances. Her exact words. I took it to mean you were struggling. The anger flared hot in my chest. I'm not confused. Someone is lying about me. Deliberately. Systematically. His voice went firm, strong. If someone is lying on your good name, Alma, we're not letting that stand. But what neither of us knew was how deep this went. That afternoon, I called the gas company, sat on hold for 15 minutes listening to automated messages. Finally, a representative picked up. I'm calling about a late notice I received. I paid this bill in November. I heard keyboard clicking. Let me pull up your account, Mrs. Meaties. Jefferson. Yes, I see here that a payment arrangement was set up on December 14th. You called and asked to delay payment until January. My hand gripped the phone tighter. I never made that call. According to our notes, an older woman called. She identified herself as Alma Jefferson, provided your account number and address for verification. What did she sound like? Let me check if there are more notes. Yes, our representative described the voice as elderly but clear. The caller said she needed to delay payment due to temporary cash flow issues. I never called. I never agreed. I never signed. There should be a recording of that call. I want to hear it. Let me check on that for you. More clicking. I see here there's also a joint authorization form on file. Allows a family member to make account changes on your behalf. My blood ran cold. I never signed any authorization form. I live alone. I manage my own accounts. Silence on the other end. Then, carefully, Mrs. Jefferson, these forms are usually signed in person or submitted with notarized signatures. Do you want me to request a copy? Yes, send it to my address immediately, and I want that call recording. After I hung up, I sat staring at the wall. Someone had called, pretending to be me. Someone had submitted forms in my name. Someone was systematically taking over my financial life. That evening, I spread every document across my dining table. Bank statements, bills, receipts, the senior living postcard, the church thank you note, all of it. I grabbed a legal pad and started charting patterns. Overdraft fee on December 3rd. Devin had texted me, December 1st. Latrice sent your December support. Should hit your account tomorrow. Overdraft fee on December 18th. Devin had called December 16th. Did you get this month's transfer okay? Every time Devin mentioned money being sent, a failed transfer and overdraft fee appeared 2 days later. The assisted living postcard had my full legal name, my building address, unit number. Someone with access to detailed information had requested this. I remembered teaching students to follow the evidence, not their feelings, to build cases on facts, not assumptions. I'd spent 37 years teaching kids how to think critically, how to question, how to prove. Now I applied my own lessons to my own life. Everything pointed to Latrice, but I needed proof, real proof. December 31st, New Year's Eve. Most people were planning celebrations. I was planning a war. I called my pastor. I need help, legal help. I know someone, he said. Elder law attorney. He's good and he's honest. His name is Calvin Rhodes. Within an hour, I was back in the pastor's office. He had Rhodes on speakerphone. Mrs. Jefferson, tell me what's happening. I laid it out. The money I'd never received, the changed passwords, the impersonation, the whispers about my competence, the pattern of lies. Rhodes's voice stayed calm, professional. This sounds like financial exploitation, possibly elder abuse. I can help you investigate this properly. What do you need from me? Authorization to pull your bank records, permission to speak with your financial institutions, copies of everything you've documented. Then I need about 3 weeks to build a complete picture. My pastor slid papers across his desk, legal authorization forms. I signed without hesitation. The pen scratched across paper. Each signature felt like a small act of rebellion. Let's set a meeting for late January, Rhodes said. By then, I'll have what we need. Remember Devin, my son, the one who exploded at Christmas dinner, still believed every word Latrice told him. After the call ended, I sat in the quiet church office. The weight of everything pressed down on me. What if he doesn't believe me even with proof? I asked my pastor. He squeezed my shoulder. Then you'll know who your son really is. But right now, focus on getting the truth. The rest will follow. What he would find would be worse than I imagined. I drove home through Boston streets decorated for New Year, families celebrating, people looking forward to fresh starts. I was just trying to save my life from being stolen. The first Sunday in January, I arrived at church early. I needed the quiet before service started, needed to sit in the sanctuary and breathe. I walked down the hallway toward the fellowship hall. Voices floated from around the corner, 2 women talking in hushed tones. It's so hard when elders start slipping like that. I froze mid-step. I heard her son has to manage everything now. The poor woman doesn't even know what bills she's paid. My reputation, built over 40 years, was being dismantled. They were talking about me, in my own church, women I'd served with on committees, women I'd prayed with. Footsteps approached from behind. A hand touched my shoulder gently. My pastor's voice came low and firm. "Come with me, Alma." He guided me into his office. Closed the door. The hallway voices faded. "How long has this been going on?" I asked. He sighed. "I started hearing whispers about 3 weeks ago. Your daughter-in-law has been very careful, very deliberate. She tells little stories, nothing dramatic, just enough to plant seeds." "What kind of stories?" "That you've been forgetting appointments, mixing up dates, getting confused about money. She frames it as concern, says she's trying to help. People believe her because she sounds so caring." The anger burned hot in my throat. If you've seen how quickly lies can spread, you know why this story matters. Subscribe if you want to see how Alma fights back. 2 days later, my phone rang. The gas company. I grabbed my notepad. "Mrs. Jefferson, I'm calling to confirm the payment arrangement you set up on December 14th. "I didn't set up any arrangement." Someone impersonated me. "We take fraud seriously, ma'am. Would you be willing to listen to the call recording? I need your verbal consent to play it." "Yes, play it." Static crackled. Then a voice. Older woman. Shaky but clear. "This is Alma Jefferson. I need to arrange a payment delay until January due to temporary cash issues." My stomach turned to ice. The voice wasn't mine, but it was designed to sound like an elderly woman, someone trying to sound forgetful and struggling. "That is not me," I said. My voice came out hard and cold. "Someone is impersonating me. I need a copy of that recording immediately." "Would you recognize someone stealing your voice?" "I'll email it to you today, Mrs. Jefferson, and I'm flagging your account for fraud investigation." After I hung up, I sat staring at the phone. Latrice had called pretending to be me, using a fake elderly voice, building her story. January 11th. A knock at my door interrupted my morning coffee. I opened it to find Devin standing there. "Just wanted to check on you, Mom." Latrice had sent him. I could hear it in the careful way he said it. "Come in." We sat at my kitchen table. Awkward silence filled the space between us. Then my phone rang. The gas company again. I answered on speaker. "This is Alma Jefferson." "Mrs. Jefferson, this is the fraud department. We have some follow-up questions about the December 14th call." I walked them through everything. Clear, organized, precise, gave them dates, reference numbers, explained the pattern of impersonation. Devin sat silent, watching, listening. I could feel his attention sharpening. When I hung up, he spoke quietly. "You sounded completely clear just now." "I am completely clear." He stood, walked to my dining table where I had files spread out, picked up a folder, bank statements organized by month, highlighted transactions, detailed notes. "Latrice said you were having trouble keeping track of things. Your wife is lying." Remember attorney Calvin Rhodes, the estate lawyer Pastor Green recommended, was quietly pulling records that would blow everything apart. Devin didn't say anything. But something had shifted. He left a few minutes later. As he reached the door, his coat caught on the chair. It fell. Contents spilled across my floor. I bent to help gather everything. A glossy brochure slid across the hardwood. "Meadowbrook Gardens Memory Care Community." I picked it up. Handwritten notes covered the margins, Latrice's handwriting. I'd seen it on birthday cards. 2BR Suite, $7,200 a month. Available March 2024. Rental income potential $4K month. My breath caught sharp in my throat. "What is this?" Devin grabbed for it. His voice came out stammering and defensive. "It's nothing. Latrice was just researching options, in case you ever needed help someday." "Rental income for my condo?" My voice rose. "You're planning to move me out and rent my home?" "No, it's not like that. She's just being prepared." They were planning my life. Without me. For profit. "Get out. Mom, get out of my house right now." He grabbed his coat, left without another word. The door closed with a hollow thud. I stood holding the brochure. My hands shook. They weren't just trying to control my money. They were planning to take my home, put me in a facility, turn my condo into rental income. 2 days later, Devin came back. I almost didn't answer the door, but I did. "We need to talk, Mom." "Yes, we do." We sat in my living room. He cleared his throat. "Maybe you need more help than you think. It's not a weakness to admit that." Those were Latrice's exact words, coming from my son's mouth. I need my son to believe me, not his wife. This isn't about taking sides. It's about your safety and comfort. My safety? My comfort? My voice cracked. "You're planning to put me in a memory care facility and rent out my home. How is that for my comfort?" "That's not what's happening." "Then why does your wife have brochures with rental income calculations?" "She's just being thorough, planning ahead. That's what she does." I stood up, walked to the door, opened it. "Leave. Mom, leave my house and don't come back until you're ready to hear the truth." He left. I closed the door, locked it, slid down to the floor and cried. Have you ever had to choose between proving you're right and keeping your child close? That night, Devin couldn't sleep. He sat in his home office at 11 o'clock staring at his laptop. His email notifications showed another household transfer, $8,500, labeled Elder Care Support. He'd been seeing these for months, always assumed they were going to his mother. But when had he actually seen proof? He pulled up his banking app, went back 6 months, 10 transfers, $61,000 total. His mother said she'd never received any money. What if she was telling the truth? He walked to the living room. Latrice sat on the couch, scrolling her phone. Can we talk about the money I've been sending my mom? Her voice stayed calm, patient. What about it? I want to see proof she's receiving it. Are you serious right now? Her tone shifted, sharp edges underneath the softness. I'm taking care of your mother like you asked me to, and you're questioning me? I just want to see confirmation, bank statements, anything showing the deposits. It's for your mother, Devin. Stop making me feel guilty for helping her. The words sounded rehearsed, hollow, like she'd said them too many times. That was the moment Devin started keeping his own records. The next morning, he sat in his car in a grocery store parking lot, engine running, privacy guaranteed. He dialed his pastor's number. Pastor Green, this is Devin Jefferson. I need to ask you something privately. Of course, son. What's on your mind? Has my mother been acting confused, forgetful, having trouble managing things? Silence on the other end. Then carefully, your mother is one of the sharpest 70-year-olds I know. Why? Latrice has been telling me she's struggling, getting confused about bills and appointments. Devin, your mother's neighbor overheard Latrice in the hallway on Christmas morning. She was on the phone complaining about cleaning up Alma's money mess. But your mother doesn't have money messes. His chest tightened. Who else knows about this? Your mother hired an attorney, Calvin Rhodes, elder law specialist. He's investigating. Can you connect me with him? I think that would be wise. Devin hung up, pulled his laptop from his briefcase, started forwarding bank statements to the pastor's email. Remember Latrice, the daughter-in-law who'd been playing both sides, had no idea the walls were closing in. An hour later, Devin sat on a three-way call. Pastor Green, Attorney Rhodes, and himself. Mr. Jefferson, I need access to your financial records, Rhodes said. His voice was calm and professional. Everything related to transfers you've made for your mother. You'll have them by tonight. I'm scheduling a meeting for January 29th. Your mother will be there. I'd like you there too. Can you make that work? I'll be there. Good. And Mr. Jefferson? Don't tell your wife about this meeting. Not yet. Devin sat in his silent car after the call ended. Everything was about to come into focus, and it was going to be ugly. January 29th, 2024, 10 o'clock in the morning. Attorney Rhodes's conference room. The building sat in downtown Boston, glass and steel, professional, cold. I sat at the long mahogany table with my pastor beside me. His hand rested on my shoulder. The gesture steadied my breathing. My heart hammered against my ribs. The door opened. Devin walked in first. His shoulders were tight, his jaw clenched. He wouldn't look at me, wouldn't meet my eyes. Then came Latrice. She moved with easy confidence, smiled warmly at Rhodes, touched Devin's arm gently, playing the supportive wife perfectly. Her voice came out sweet and concerned. Thank you for arranging this meeting, Mr. Rhodes. I'm so glad we can clear up this confusion. Rhodes stood, extended his hand across the table. Thank you all for coming. Please, sit. The chairs scraped against the floor. Everyone settled into position. The air felt thick with unspoken tension. I could hear my own breathing. We're here to clear up some confusion about financial support arrangements, Rhodes said. His voice stayed calm and professional, measured. I've gathered documentation that should help us understand what's been happening. Latrice smiled warmly, reached over to pat my hand. I'm glad we can finally sort this out. Poor Mama Alma has been so confused about the money we've been sending. I pulled my hand back, said nothing. Rhodes had told me to stay quiet until he asked me direct questions. What happened in that room changed everything. Rhodes opened a manila folder, pulled out printed bank statements, laid them across the table in careful, deliberate rows. The papers made soft, rustling sounds. Mr. Jefferson, these are your account records from July 2023 through December 2023. Can you confirm these transfers? Devin leaned forward. His chair creaked. He scanned the pages with his finger. Yes, those are the support payments I authorized for my mother. $6,000 per month, correct? Correct. Starting in July, that's $36,000 total. Rhodes slid another set of papers across the table. They made a sliding sound against the polished wood. And these are Mrs. Alma Jefferson's bank statements for the same period. Can anyone show me where these deposits appear? I watched Devin's finger trace down the columns, page after page. His breathing changed, got shallower, more rapid. I don't see them. That's because they never arrived at your mother's account, Rhodes said. His voice stayed even. Now let me show you where they did go. He placed a third stack of documents on the table, lined them up precisely. This is an account opened June 15, 2023, at Boston Federal Credit Union, in Mrs. Latrice Coleman's name only. Notice the routing number on these deposit confirmations matches the destination account for every transfer you authorized. Devin grabbed the papers. His hands started shaking. The pages rustled. This isn't my mother's account. This is Latrice's personal account. Correct. Every dollar you authorized for your mother went here instead. $36,000 over 6 months. The color drained from Devin's face. His voice came out strangled and raw. I don't understand. I sent that money for my mother. How do you lie to someone who loves you that completely? Latrice's voice rose sharp and defensive. Her tone shifted completely. There's an explanation for this. If you just let me... Mrs. Coleman, please don't speak until I'm finished presenting the evidence, Rhodes said. His tone stayed polite but firm. I need everyone to see the complete picture. Remember, Devin had authorized those transfers, my wealthy son who believed he was being a good man, every month for 6 months. Rhodes pulled out printed emails, a thick stack. Mr. Jefferson, do you recognize these? Devin scrolled through the pages. His finger trembled slightly. These are from Latrice. She sent me confirmation screenshots after each transfer to show Mom received the money. Look at them closely. And what do you see? Deposit confirmations with my mother's name. Account type shows savings. Wait. His finger stopped on one image. He held it closer. The account number is cut off at the bottom. I can only see the first 4 digits. Correct. Every single screenshot was deliberately cropped. Here are the full uncropped versions recovered from your email metadata. Rhodes laid them side by side. The difference was stark, undeniable. The cropped versions showed Alma Jefferson savings account and a partial routing number. The full versions showed a complete routing number and account holder name, Latrice Marie Coleman. Devin's voice broke. Actually broke. You used my mother to steal from me? I didn't steal anything, Latrice said. Her voice went high and thin, defensive. I needed to stabilize our household finances. You don't understand the pressure I was under, the expectations. Your mother has everything she needs. You told me it was for my mother. Devin's fist slammed the table. The sound echoed sharp and loud. Coffee cups rattled. Every single time I questioned our spending, you said it was for her. You made me feel guilty for even asking. You used my love for my mother as a weapon. Every dollar, every lie, every month. My siblings' kids needed help, Latrice said. Her voice cracked. Their parents couldn't afford private school. What was I supposed to do? Let them suffer in failing public schools? With your own money, Devin said. His voice went cold. Not mine. Not money you stole by lying about my mother. If this story is hitting you hard, subscribe and let me know in the comments, because it gets worse. Rhodes waited for the room to quiet. Let the tension settle. Then he continued. Mrs. Jefferson, I need your permission to play an audio recording from the gas company's fraud investigation. You have it, I said. My voice came out steady despite my racing heart. He pressed a button on a small speaker in the center of the table. Static crackled. Then a voice filled the room. Thin, elderly, uncertain. This is Alma Jefferson calling about my gas bill. I need to set up a payment arrangement because I'm having some temporary cash flow issues. I get confused about dates sometimes. The voice sounded elderly, shaky, deliberately uncertain, but it wasn't mine. "That is not my voice," I said firmly. Rhodes stopped the recording. "This is one of 4 calls made to your utility companies between December 10th and December 20th, 2023. All from someone claiming to be Alma Jefferson, all using similar language about confusion and financial difficulty, all designed to create a paper trail of cognitive decline." He looked directly at Latrice, his gaze steady and unflinching. The utility company's fraud department, working with law enforcement, compared these recordings to known voice samples. The caller was you, Mrs. Coleman. Voice analysis confirmed a 94% match. My pastor's voice came out quiet but firm. "Lord, have mercy." Latrice's hands gripped the edge of the table. Her knuckles went white. I was trying to help. She wasn't managing things properly. Bills were getting late. Someone had to step in and handle things. By impersonating her. Devon's voice shook with rage. By faking an elderly voice to make her look incompetent? To make me think she was losing her mind? She stole my money. She stole my name. She tried to steal my mind. Rhodes pulled out more papers, a group text message thread printed on paper. This is where the pattern becomes clear. "Mr. Jefferson, did you send this text message on November 18th, 2023? Devon read it aloud, his voice flat. "Just being cautious in case Mom's decline gets worse. Good to have options ready if she needs more care." He looked up. "I sent that to Latrice after Thanksgiving. I thought Mom seemed distracted when we visited. Kept forgetting what we were talking about." "Did she? Or were you told she did?" Devon's face shifted, realization dawning. Latrice mentioned it on the drive home, said she'd noticed it happening more often. Now read this text from Mrs. Coleman to her sister on November 19th, 2023, the day after your text. Devon's voice went flat, hollow. "Creating a paper trail about her decline in case we need to take over legally. The condo's worth $400,000. Too much equity to let her mess this up with bad decisions." Silence crashed through the room like a physical weight. "You planned this?" Devon's voice came out barely above a whisper. "You've been deliberately building a false case to take over her life?" Rhodes spread more documents across the table, printouts of email drafts, lists of fabricated symptoms, notes about doctor appointments. Mrs. Coleman drafted a proposed guardianship petition in early January. She outlined a detailed narrative of cognitive decline. She planned to present this to a physician and request legal authority over your mother's financial and medical affairs. I finally spoke. My voice stayed steady despite the rage burning in my chest. "You were building a lie to lock me away." How long had she been planning to erase me? Rhodes produced one more folder, this one thicker than the others, more official looking. This is what I consider the most disturbing evidence. A partially completed guardianship packet. It includes a letter supposedly from a Dr. Richard Morrison at Boston Medical Center, dated January 5th, 2024. He read from the letter. "Mrs. Alma Jefferson, age 69, presents with signs of early cognitive decline, including short-term memory loss, confusion about financial matters, and difficulty managing daily tasks. It is my professional opinion that she would benefit from legal guardianship to ensure her safety and well-being." He paused. Let that sink in. Let the words hang in the air. Dr. Richard Morrison doesn't exist. I personally contacted Boston Medical Center. No physician by that name has ever been on staff. The letter was created using a template downloaded from a legal forms website on January 3rd. The signature is digitally generated. This is forgery. Devon's breathing went ragged, uneven. "You forged a medical letter?" And there's more. Rhodes pulled out printed emails. On January 8th, 2024, Mrs. Coleman contacted Sandra Walsh at Premier Boston Realty. I'll read the email. "Hi Sandra, quick question about the South End condo market. If we get clear title to a 2-bedroom unit near Boston Medical, what's the projected monthly rental income? My husband and I are considering elder care placement options and want to understand the financial picture." The agent's response appeared on the next page. Rhodes read it aloud. "Based on the address you mentioned, I'd estimate $3,800 to $4,200 monthly for a furnished rental. The area is highly desirable. If you move forward, I'd love to represent the listing." The room went silent. Then Devin stood up. His chair scraped back hard, the sound jarring in the quiet space. Violent, almost. "You were planning to move my mother out of her home, lock her away in a facility, and rent out her condo for profit, and you used my name to do it." "Devin, you have to understand the complete situation." Latrice started. "No." His voice cut like steel. "We're done. This marriage is done. You're done." He turned to me. His voice cracked with emotion. Tears filled his eyes. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so deeply sorry. I liked believing I was a good son more than I liked checking the truth. I chose comfort over you. I chose her lies because they were easier than questioning. That makes me almost as guilty as she is." "I just needed you to believe me," I whispered. "That's all I ever needed." This was the moment he became my son again. Stay with me, because what happens next will stay with you. Subscribe if you're invested in Alma's story. Remember, this whole nightmare started on Christmas. My son asking about $6,000 I'd never seen. Latrice's confident facade crumbled completely. Her voice went high and desperate, pleading. "I can explain everything. You don't understand the full picture, the complete context. I had reasons." Rhodes's voice stayed level, professional. "Then explain, Mrs. Coleman. We're all listening. This is your opportunity to provide your side." She opened her mouth, closed it. Tears started streaming down her face, started again. The money wasn't just sitting there doing nothing. I had real expenses, important expenses that mattered. What expenses? Devin's voice was ice, pure ice. My niece and nephew needed private school tuition, St. Margaret's Academy, $14,000 a year each. Their parents couldn't afford it. They were going to have to go to the neighborhood public school. I wasn't going to let them suffer in failing schools when we had money. My stomach twisted. "You used money meant for me to pay for other children's education?" "They needed it more than you did." Latrice's voice rose, got shrill. "You have everything. A paid-off condo worth $400,000, retirement savings, pension income, Social Security. You're fine. My family was actually struggling, actually in need, real need." "So you decided you were Robin Hood," Devin said. His voice went cold, bitter. "Stealing from my mother to give to your relatives? And yes, I have memberships," Latrice continued. The confession tumbled out faster, louder, more desperate. "The country club, the spa, the boutique gym. I have to maintain appearances. Your son is wealthy. People have expectations. That costs money. Do you know how much it costs to keep up the image people expect from your wife?" "So you stole it," Devin said flatly. "I borrowed it. I was going to pay it back once things stabilized, once your app launches and makes money again. I was managing our finances. That's what wives do." Rhodes made a note with his pen, the scratching sound loud in the quiet room. "How much total did you divert from Mr. Jefferson's accounts over the past year?" Latrice's voice went small, childlike almost. "I don't know the exact amount. Approximately? Maybe 70 or 75,000, give or take." I heard Devin's sharp intake of breath, a wounded sound. "And the guardianship plan?" Rhodes pressed. His voice stayed calm, clinical. "How does moving Mrs. Jefferson into a facility and renting her condo fit into your plan to pay everything back?" Latrice's voice turned bitter, cold, the mask fully dropped. "Alma doesn't need that whole condo. It's way too big for one person rattling around alone. 3 rooms she never uses. She'd be fine in a nice facility. Better than fine. Safer, too. They have activities, social programs. She'd probably be happier. And the rental income from the condo would solve all our financial problems immediately. Solve your problems, I said, my voice hard as stone. Not mine. You'd be taken care of, Latrice insisted. I wasn't going to put you in some terrible place. Meadowbrook Gardens is lovely, clean, well-staffed. You'd have everything you needed. Except my home, I said. Except my freedom. Except my life. She thought I'd be fine. She thought I didn't need my home. She thought wrong. Rhodes stacked the papers neatly. Precisely. Mrs. Coleman, I need you to understand your legal situation clearly. Based on the evidence I've gathered, you could face criminal charges including elder financial abuse under Massachusetts general laws, Chapter 265, fraud, forgery, and identity theft. These are serious felonies with significant prison sentences. We're talking 5 to 10 years minimum. Latrice's voice cracked. Prison? You're talking about prison? Yes, however. Rhodes paused. Mrs. Jefferson has authorized me to offer you an alternative. A settlement agreement. You would agree to full restitution of all diverted funds within 90 days. You would sign a legal retraction of all statements made about Mrs. Jefferson's competence. This retraction would be distributed to every person and institution you contacted. You would agree to absolute zero contact with Mrs. Jefferson going forward. No calls, no emails, no social media, no showing up at her church or her building. Nothing. And you would submit to financial monitoring and credit reporting for 5 years. What does that mean? It means a third-party service monitors your finances. Any unusual activity gets flagged. Any attempt to hide assets or income gets reported. And if I agree to all that, no criminal charges filed, this stays civil, but if you violate any single term, any term at all, or if you ever attempt to contact Mrs. Jefferson or spread false information about her again, I will personally deliver this entire evidence file to the district attorney. Do you understand? Latrice looked at Devin, her voice pleading, desperate. Please, we can work this out. It's a marriage. People make mistakes. We have history together. We can go to counseling. We can fix this. His voice stayed flat, dead, empty. Sign the papers. Rhodes slid documents across the table, multiple pages. Mr. Jefferson, you're also signing a financial commitment. You're agreeing to reimburse your mother for all diverted funds, plus her legal fees, plus compensation for emotional distress. The total comes to $53,000. Are you comfortable with that amount? Yes, and I want it in writing, in that document, that I will never question her competence or living situation again. My mother is the sharpest person in this room. Hell, the sharpest person I know, and I want it documented that I was an idiot who believed lies instead of trusting the woman who raised me. His signature scratched across paper, firm, decisive. Then Rhodes slid the settlement agreement to Latrice. She picked up the pen. Her hand shook violently. Tears dripped onto the documents, making small, wet circles. She signed, each page, one after another. One more thing, Rhodes said. Mrs. Coleman, last year, Mr. Bonua Jefferson signed a digital authorization form for legitimate elder care banking assistance. This was for emergency purposes, if his mother needed help while traveling or during a medical crisis. Instead, you use this authorization to access accounts and make changes without his knowledge or your mother-in-law's consent. Is that accurate? Her voice came out barely audible, a whisper. I was just trying to help. That authorization is now voided, Rhodes said, and Mr. Jefferson will be filing for divorce. I've prepared preliminary paperwork that will be filed tomorrow morning. The meeting ended. Chairs scraped, papers shuffled into folders, the sounds harsh and final. Latrice left first, stumbling slightly, her footsteps uneven in the hallway. Devin stayed behind. He stood in front of me. I don't know how to make this right. I don't know if I even can. You just did, I said. You chose truth. That's all I needed. My pastor squeezed my shoulder. Truth has a way of surfacing, Alma. Always does. It might take time, but it surfaces. Rhodes closed his briefcase. The latches clicked. Mrs. Jefferson, you'll see the restitution deposited within 30 days. I'm requiring certified funds. And this guardianship packet, the forged letter, I'm keeping everything. If she ever resurfaces with this nonsense, any of it, this becomes evidence in a criminal case. She knows that now. But paperwork was just the beginning of healing. Outside, January cold bit at my face. My pastor walked me to my car in the parking garage. Our footsteps echoed. You did it, Alma. You stood up and fought back. I almost didn't, I admitted. Almost let them convince me I was the problem, that I was confused, slipping. Almost believed it myself. But you didn't. That's what matters. You trusted yourself when everyone else was telling you not to. You'd think this is where it ends, but truth needs to be spoken out loud. Because winning in a lawyer's office was one thing. Restoring my reputation where it had been damaged was another. And I wasn't done yet. The next morning, Devin packed a suitcase. The sound of the zipper echoed through the bedroom he'd shared with Latrice. She stood in the doorway. Her voice came out pleading, desperate. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. Please don't leave. I can't look at you, he said, his voice flat, empty. He carried his bag down the stairs, his footsteps heavy on the hardwood. Latrice followed, still talking, still making excuses. He didn't respond. The car door slammed. The engine started. He sat in the driveway for a full minute before dialing my number. Mom, can I come by tomorrow morning? My voice came out soft. Careful. Come for breakfast, 7:30. Some endings happen fast. No drama, just done. January 31st, 7:30 in the morning. I heard the knock at my door. Devin stood on my doorstep holding a small bouquet of flowers. His voice came out rough, like he'd been crying. I didn't know what else to bring. Come in, baby. I'd made his favorite. Blueberry pancakes, real maple syrup, turkey sausage the way he liked it. The kitchen smelled like home. We sat at my table, the same table where this nightmare started at Christmas. Now we were trying to rebuild. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Just the sounds of silverware on plates, coffee being poured. Finally, Devin put his fork down. Mom, I need to say this properly, not rushed, not defensive. I need you to hear me. I'm listening. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I chose comfort over truth. I liked believing I was a good son more than I liked checking if you were actually okay. I reached across the table, took his hand. You're still my son, but things have to be different now. I know. Tell me what you need. I need you to never question my capacity again unless you have real evidence. Not whispers, not someone else's opinion, real evidence. And I need you to verify financial information directly with me, not through anyone else. Done. I swear to you, done. Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's choosing what comes next. We're going to be okay, I said, but it's going to take time. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight. I'll wait as long as it takes. Remember Pastor Lionel Green, the one who'd promised to restore my good name, was preparing to do exactly that. February 3rd. I walked into my bank with my neighbor Renee beside me. She'd offered to come, be a witness, make sure everything was handled properly. The branch manager greeted us personally. Mrs. Jefferson, I'm so sorry about what happened. We failed you. Yes, you did. Now let's make sure it never happens again. I sat at his desk, gave clear instructions, changed all my passwords, removed the old recovery phone number, added fraud alerts to every account. I want notifications for any transaction over $100, email and text, both. Absolutely. And I'm adding a verbal password requirement for any phone requests. No changes without you presenting identification in person. Renee's voice came from beside me, strong, supportive. That's right. Write it down. The keyboard clicked. Confirmation printouts slid across the desk. I signed each one, my hand steady. You'll receive a letter confirming all these changes within 5 business days, the manager said. I'll be watching for it. Walking out, I felt something shift, control returning to my life, my money, my choices. Why does taking back your own life feel like winning a war? February 10th, Sunday morning. After church service, Pastor Green asked me to stay for a special meeting. The church's small conference room filled with people. Some I recognized, including the 2 women I'd overheard gossiping in the hallway. My stomach tightened, but Pastor Green's hand on my shoulder steadied me. Thank you all for coming, he began, his voice firm, pastoral. We're here because a grave injustice was done to Sister Alma Jefferson, and this church was used to spread lies about her character. He held up a document. This is a signed legal retraction from Latrice Coleman. I'm going to read it aloud. The room went silent. I, Latrice Coleman, do hereby retract all statements I made regarding Alma Jefferson's mental capacity, memory, or ability to manage her affairs. These statements were false. They were deliberately designed to damage Mrs. Jefferson's reputation. I apologize unreservedly for the harm I caused. Pastor Green set the paper down. Let me be abundantly clear. Alma Jefferson has never had memory issues. She has never had financial troubles. She has never been confused or incompetent. Someone spread deliberate lies about a faithful member of this congregation. One of the gossiping women spoke up, her voice shaking. Sister Alma, I'm so sorry. I repeated things I should have questioned. The other woman nodded, tears in her voice. I'm ashamed. Please forgive me. I forgive you, I said, my voice steady, but I needed you all to know the truth. Pastor Green's voice rang with authority. This retraction will be shared with everyone who heard the false narrative. Sister Alma's good name is hereby restored, fully, completely. The gossip died in the same room where it was born. If Alma's strength inspired you, let me know by subscribing. We're almost at the end. If you're still not subscribing, tell me in the comments. What's holding you back? March 5th. I sat across from Attorney Rhodes again, this time for planning, protection, control. I want to update my estate plan, I told him. Make sure what happened can never happen again. Rhodes opened his laptop. Tell me what you want. I want a durable power of attorney, but with safeguards. Multiple people have to agree before anyone makes decisions for me. No single person gets control. That's called a multi-party power of attorney. Smart choice. And I want it written explicitly. I choose where I live. As long as I'm competent, no one moves me anywhere. Not a facility, not a nursing home, nowhere. His pen scratched across legal paper. I'll draft language that's ironclad. Any attempt to override your wishes triggers automatic review by a neutral third party. How much will all this cost? Consider it included in what Devin already paid. You deserve protection after what you went through. I signed the updated documents 2 weeks later, my signature firm and clear. Protection doesn't come from hiding things. It comes from making your wishes clear. December 24th, 2024, Christmas Eve, 1 year after everything fell apart. I sat in my usual pew at church. The sanctuary glowed with candlelight. The organ played softly. Congregation members filed in for the evening service. Devin slid into the seat beside me. We didn't plan it. He just showed up, sat down, reached for my hand. We held hands during the opening prayer, like we used to when he was a boy. So much had changed in 1 year. Latrice was gone, divorced, restraining order in place. She'd moved out of state, part of the settlement. Devin had learned to ask questions, to verify, to trust, but check. We talked every week now, real conversations, honest ones. I'd learned something too. Love without attention is dangerous. Trust without boundaries invites disaster. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing your terms for moving forward. The pastor stood to speak. His voice filled the sanctuary. Tonight we celebrate light breaking into darkness, truth defeating lies, hope surviving betrayal. I felt Devin squeeze my hand, heard him whisper, "Merry Christmas, Mama. Merry Christmas, baby." I'm still in my home. I still pay my own bills. I still know exactly who I am. My condo is mine. My mind is sharp. My voice is clear. No one will ever silence it again. Some people asked me later if I regretted fighting back, if I wished I'd handled things differently, kept the peace. Let it go. I tell them the same thing every time. I regret nothing. My dignity is not negotiable. My home is not for sale. My life is not up for debate. This story isn't just about money. It's about something deeper. It's about women like me, widows, elders, people society decides are disposable once we're no longer useful. They tried to make me disappear. They failed. I'm 70 years old now. I volunteer at the local senior center twice a week. I teach other widows how to protect themselves, how to keep records, how to trust their instincts when something feels wrong, because it happened to me, and I was lucky. I had records. I had a pastor who believed me. I had resources to hire an attorney. Not everyone does. Not everyone survives this kind of betrayal. So I tell my story. I speak at community centers. I write letters to legislators about elder financial abuse. I make noise. Because the best way to honor my survival is to help others survive too. Devin and I have dinner every Sunday now, at my place. I cook. He brings dessert. We talk about everything: work, life, the future. He's dating someone new, a teacher. She's kind, honest. When she met me, she asked questions about my life, my career, my interests. She saw me as a person, not an obligation. I like her. And maybe someday I'll trust her. But trust is earned now, not given. That's what this year taught me. That's what Latrice's betrayal cost her, and what it gave me: clarity, boundaries, self-respect. As I sit in church this Christmas Eve, 1 year after the disaster, I feel peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because I fought for my truth, and I won. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next one. Drop your country flag and location in the comments. I'd love to know where you're watching from. And if you're still not subscribed, seriously, what's stopping you? Your feedback means a lot and helps me improve every story.